Okay, so let's talk about a dash cam that's been getting a ton of buzz online, the REDTIGER F7N. On paper, it looks like it has absolutely everything you could want. But as we're going to see, there's a really interesting story hiding behind the marketing, a real clash between the hype and the reality. All right, let's jump right in.
And this is the big question, right? You're looking for a way to protect yourself on the road. You don't want to spend a fortune, and you see something like this pop up. You have to ask yourself, is this the one? Is this the perfect balance of features and price? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out. And I mean, just look at the promises they're making. It's impressive. You get cameras for the front and the back. You've got built-in GPS and Wi-Fi, 24/7 parking protection, and the big one, the headliner, crystal clear 4K recording. It really does sound like the total package, kind of like a no-brainer. But you know the old saying, right? If it sounds a little too good to be true, you've got to dig deeper. Because behind all those amazing features on the box, there's a surprising truth that might just change how you see this camera. So let's start with that biggest claim of all, the 4K video. It's the #1 selling point, but we really need to unmask what 4K actually means here, because, and this is important, not all 4K is created equal. The secret here is a little trick called upscaling. What this means basically is the camera isn't really capturing a true 4K image. Instead, it's recording at a lower resolution and then using software to just stretch it out to 4K size. So yeah, you get a file that says 4K, but you don't get that genuine 4K detail. And here's why that actually matters in the real world. With real native 4K, you can zoom into the footage and clearly read a license plate from pretty far away. But with this upscaled video from the REDTIGER, that same license plate just turns into a blurry smudge. All those tiny details, the exact things you'd need after an accident, they just disappear. So, okay, the 4K thing is a bit of a marketing gimmick. But what about the camera's main job? How does it actually perform day in and day out? And more importantly, can you actually count on it when things go wrong? All right, let's give credit where it's due. During the day, the performance is actually very good, especially for a camera at this price point. The footage is clear, it's usable, the wide-angle lens sees the whole road, and you can definitely make out license plates on cars that are right near you. For just general driving, it does a solid job. But when the sun goes down, well, it's a completely different story. The performance is just average. Headlights cause a lot of glare that can wash out important details. You see a lot of that grainy noise in the dark parts of the image, and things in motion can get pretty blurry. If you drive a lot at night, this is a really big deal. And that brings us to maybe the most alarming problem of all. Some people have reported total failures. They go to pull the footage and they get this message: files corrupted. Just imagine for a second, you get into an accident, you go to get the proof, and the one file you desperately need is just gone. And that's the whole point, isn't it? A dash cam only has to fail you one time, at that one critical moment when you need it the most, to be completely 100% useless. That's the biggest risk you're taking with a budget camera where reliability might not be guaranteed. Okay, so let's step back from the camera performance itself and look at the whole package. What other bells and whistles does REDTIGER pack into this thing? The Wi-Fi and the app are, in theory, super convenient. It's great to be able to see a live view or download a clip right to your phone. But the reality is a bit of a mixed bag. The app can be pretty laggy, and trying to transfer those big video files over Wi-Fi feels like it takes forever. The GPS, on the other hand, is a genuinely fantastic feature. It automatically logs your speed, your route, and it stamps all that crucial data right onto your video file. If you ever get into a dispute or have to file an insurance claim, that information is absolute gold. And here's something they did that was really smart from a design perspective. It doesn't use a normal battery, which can fail or even swell up when it gets really hot. It uses something called a supercapacitor. All you need to know is that this makes it way more durable, especially if you live somewhere hot, and it should last a whole lot longer. So, we've looked at the good, the bad, and the kind of deceptive, which brings us to the bottom line. Let's pull all this together so you can decide for yourself, should you actually buy this thing? All right, here it is, broken down as simply as possible. The pros are all about value. You get a ton of features for your money. A dual camera system, GPS and Wi-Fi, and good daytime quality, all for a really low price. But the cons, well, they're serious. The fake 4K, the mediocre night video, the slow app, and the big one, those worries about reliability.
So, who should actually click buy on this? Well, you should get it if you're on a really tight budget and you just want some basic protection. If you're new to dash cams and you're thinking, you know what, good enough is good enough for me, then this is a perfectly fine place to start.
However, and this is a big however, you should absolutely stay away from this camera if you demand that true 4K sharpness to catch things like license plates at a distance. If you need rock-solid, dependable evidence, maybe for work, or if you do most of your driving at night, you're going to want to spend a little more on a premium option. Look, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one simple truth. You can have all the features in the world, 4K, Wi-Fi, GPS, the whole shebang, but none of it means a thing if the camera fails to record in that one critical moment. So the question you have to ask yourself isn't really about the price. It's about how much your peace of mind is worth.